Good day, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Crypto Michael. And I've never been sweating so much before I started making this video, but hey, it seems to be the case that everywhere in the world, including the Netherlands, it's going to be the Sahara. So, today update on Bitcoin, and essentially not too much stuff is happening. Some slight retracements, which is fine. What we also see is the euro dollar consolidating, through which the DXY is bouncing up slightly. There's a sort of bottom formation on the DXY, and we can get some upwards momentum on the US dollar, which what I've been saying is essentially what you could be expecting to see occur, that once the dollar starts to move up, you can essentially see that gold and silver can retrace. And yes, this retrace is a little bit overextended, a little bit too much on gold, but essentially the rally up was exactly the same notion. So once we get such a correction and we get the previous levels we are going to test, and we're getting to a level that we might be testing right now, essentially you want to get it to around the 1800 level, and if you go towards the weekly, we can even drop further down and still be in an upward trend. So it's very normal, very healthy that we get such a correction going. Silver is essentially doing the exact same figure. Heavy correction, heavy move up. Heavy moves up usually end up with heavy corrections. So we have also stated that silver is probably facing a support soon. But overall, I assume that we're going to see a further corrective movements, in which I'm looking for longs around the $19 level on silver. But then, what about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is essentially showing an exact same figure as what I've been pointing out previously, through which I assume that the 11.6 to 12k level is such an important level in which I do not expect a breakout in one go. I'm expecting that we're going to see further corrections and just sideways movements, through which the 100-day and 200-day continue to be support on Bitcoin. And as long as these sustain support, you can assume that we are in bull territory and dips are for buying. And such a ranging movement and period for the market would essentially mean that altcoins will do well. So you can see altcoins showing corrections, but overall it's doing relatively well still. And then we can get towards the BTC USDT chart we want to chart and just analyze, okay, what are the crucial levels we have? Well, essentially the level we have that's completely crucial in this case is 11.1. I think that if we lose 11.1, we are most likely going to drop towards the 10.5k zone and most likely going to test the 9.8k zone. But are we getting there in one go? I'm not assuming that we will. If we check the 4-hour time frame, we can also see that we're currently testing the previous high for support. Sorry, I have to check the 2-hour. Previous high for support. We did bounce from the OP and from the previous high, through which we can continue ranging. If we do lose this level, you can see that we don't have too much. 10.8 we've got a level, 10.5 and 10.3 we got levels, and then the 9.8 zone. But do we have to drop down in one go to that area? No, we don't have to. But what we can conclude is that once we bounce up and reject at the previous high, through which we can claim that 11.7 to 11.8.5 is the area you probably want to see that correction, you can assume that we're going to range a little while before we make the next drop. And when we make that next drop, we really drop towards the 10.8 zone, and then we get another correction sideways, and then the next drop until we bottom out. And we have seen that period here. Just a heavy drop down, continued sideways continuation, one more drop, sideways continuation, drop, sideways continuation, until there is a bottom established. And in this case, I still believe that we're going to see such a momentum in the markets. The overall invalidation of this scenario is going to come through a breakout above 12k. But at this point, we are not breaking above 12k. So we're still doing pretty much fine, and I'm sticking to this view, especially when the US dollar is going to bounce up, or the DXY is going to bounce up. I assume that other assets that are classified as safe haven are going to make some drops and some corrections. Are we in a bull territory in general? Yes, of course we are. So that's the case about Bitcoin. We're currently at support. We have to look at 11.7 to 11.8. And if we lose this 11.3 to 11.4 area, I think we're going to see further moves down. And then we're going to look at the levels I just discussed. Then Ethereum, essentially the same figure we can see here. If we check the higher time frame chart, we can see that we've got a massive overextended move. If we can get another wave up, that's very likely that we're going to rally towards the next level around 470, maybe top off from there. Essentially the trend is up, so if you want to be a dip buy and we can get lower, this is the area you want to get interested, and the last one is the 280 zone. Right now, daily time frame, we can't see too much. On a smaller time frame, we can essentially see the same figure as we can see on Bitcoin, in which we are holding support right now, but you want to see a new higher high, confirming that we are still in bull territory. If we do make a lower high, it seems very likely that we're going to break through this level at 377, and then the next zone you want to be targeting for longs is the area around 360. So if we reject here, we can assume and conclude that we are making lower highs, and then you're going to look for lower lows, in which case this is the first area. Then another rejection, and then most likely you're going to look for heavy longs around 310, 320. Revalidation is new high, previous resistance becoming support. Then I've discussed Tezos on Cointelegraph earlier today. Please check it out if you want. Heavy breaker upwards above 3.25, as it has been resistance for a significant period. And right now we are going to consolidate a little while as we are seeing such a heavy move. However, the best area to buy dips on Tezos is obviously that 325 level, but given that the market is extremely bullish, it seems unlikely that we're going to get that. So the area that you're actually wanting to look for longs is already at the 360 zone. And yes, we've got a bounce there, and that's showing the extreme interest in Tezos at this point. So we can just continue making some range movements before we continue to move further up. And then if you want to establish any like targets, you have to use the Fibonacci extension tool, and I've made one in case of a potential drop towards that 360 zone. There you can define targets at $5 and 580. If you use it from the top of the previous cycle to the low of the previous cycle, you can also determine a target around $6. So swing wise, I'm looking at these zones. Then the next one we are going to discuss, and it's just a small 1 or 2 minute approach on every of these in any of these coins, is Link, which essentially has been showing support on the low. Now you want to see a clear higher low, as this is just a resistance. You want to see clear higher low, whether or not we're getting it, or a bull flag on even smaller time frames, and then you can start rallying upwards. And then the next target zone is 1420, and then if we do break there and continue to make these upwards movements, you can determine the next target at $16 and 1830. However, invalidation is clear. You see, if we do drop below 1250, I think we're going to look at 1045 as the next level. Until then, support held, so you're looking for a higher low and then continuation. Then I also saw many people who were a little bit frightened and scared today regarding some drops on the altcoins, and people are expecting to see altcoins continue moving over and over and over, day after day after day, day after day. They don't. They just move up, test previous levels, continue. So it's always waves, and I'm trying to educate you and conclude and advise you that you should not be buying heavy green candles, given that they are very risky to buy on, and the RR is just not there for you to take. So you're looking for these retracements in which you are determining support levels before you can continue buying anything at all. Remember, it's your money. It's the same as your life. You should treat it as it's your palace and just focus on it. Be skeptical, critical, analytical, and approach it very defensively, as it's just your money. And your first goal should be to be break even and not lose money. And if you get that mindset and you are starting to make money essentially after that, that's where you want to become. So Celo USDT or Celo BTC, I think is a better one to check. We have been discussing this one given that we are above the 100-day and 200-day MA, and essentially we have been doing these flips on the levels. So we have been pointing out the level around 110, and we did not completely get there, but essentially we got into the resistance zone and immediately rejected. And that's not bad because we just witnessed an almost 2x move, and then the consolidation starts. But the more essential part is what you're seeing is that every previous resistance becomes support. So in this case, the crucial area that you want to see support hold, or you want to get into this one, is between 65 to 70 sats. However, I do not believe that we're getting that low. If we do get that low, I'll be adding. I do believe that we might be getting towards 77 to 78 sats and then just consolidate. And then once we start to make that consolidation structure or just a flag structure in the next breakout should most likely bring us towards 200 sats, and then we can even continue moving. Then finally, Harmony, essentially the same figure as we have been flipping every previous resistance for support. As you can see, we also are above the 100-day and 200-day MA. We have hit resistance zone, so it's not likely that we're going to break through it in one go, but you can see that this is an accumulation range. We have been testing resistances quite a lot, so in this case you don't want to see Harmony drop below 83 to 86 sats, and then we just consolidate. If we do hold there, I assume that the next breakout should potentially bring us towards 200 sats as well. So that's a small update on the markets. Tomorrow morning I'll be doing another one, and or maybe I'm uploading a beginner's tips and tricks video, or I'm going to do that on Thursday morning. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and follow me on Insta. Have a great day.